Tracy. The program is The Living Earth that talks about the environment, and we look at our sustainable livelihood related issues. We know that if any of this is actually violated, if any of this is not consciously related with, it means we are on our way out of this one support system that God has given to us. And that is why most countries take time to sign into different treaties, different policies globally, and then they try to domesticate it in their own individual country strength and what is more peculiar with them. And that is what come up with most of our regulating agencies. And one of them is NESREA. NESREA regulates everything that has to do with our environment, our biodiversity systems, and then to make sure we live in a healthy, survivable environment. And today's edition, I have the DG of that agency with me today. He is going to just take us through the key focal point of what is their focus, and then where you have a role to play to make sure that you hand over a healthy environment to your next generation. Nice to have you, Prof.
Thank you, Tracy.
You have to take us through this brief journey of what NESREA stands for and how impactful it is with the people of Nigeria, and that partnership link, because most times there seems to be a disconnect between what government is doing and what the people are perceiving, or what they really know that they can actually take advantage.
NESREA is an acronym which means National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency. So it's an agency of the Federal Ministry of Environment that is saddled with the responsibility of enforcing compliance with environmental laws, regulations, standard policies. The agency is also responsible for ensuring compliance with the provision of all international agreements, conventions, treaties on environment, such as climate change, hazardous waste, hazardous chemicals, biodiversity conservation. We are also mandated to prohibit the use of any technology or equipment that undermines environmental quality. So in the discharge of our duties, we came up with 33 environmental regulations covering various aspects of the environment. We all know that we cannot live without the environment. So in the course of doing that, we involve stakeholders, locally and internationally. We work with NGOs. We always go down to the grassroots to involve individuals. So in the course of that, we came up with some form of partnership. One of them is the NESREA Green Co, where we encourage personal volunteering for individuals to come up, register with the agency so that they serve as environmental vanguards wherever they are. So they police their environment to ensure that nobody pollutes the environment. They also carry out sensitization. So when you have issues to do with sanitation and waste disposal, it's not possible, for instance, to have the agency everywhere all the time. So when you have such type of volunteerism, they would assist the agency a long way in solving some of these environmental issues. Those issues that they cannot address, they can easily report to us. So we also have our very functional website and social media team. So whenever you visit the website of NESREA, www.nesrea.ng, so if you have any emergency environmental issue, there is a place where you can just click and report. When we receive such reports, quickly we send our officers to go for investigation. From there, if there is a need, they will serve what we call compliance notice if it's a facility. From there, that is for the polluting facility to fix the problem. If they don't, after serving like 3, then we go for enforcement. This enforcement entails a lot of sanctions, ranging from fines. Somebody will be taken to a competent court of law and be sanctioned accordingly. So all these ways, we do it just to protect the environment.
That seems to be a very vast responsibility there, and that cut across the whole country. It's not just the FCT Abuja. What is your capacity to deliver on this vast mandate, Prof?
As an environmental protection agency of the nation, we are supposed to be in the whole 36 states, even local government level. But due to some challenges ranging from manpower and inadequate funding. Presently, we are in 30 states of the Federation, and we hope to be in the remaining 6 states. So there are quite a lot of challenges ranging from logistics, some working tools, and the number of personnel. So we're looking forward to government. They have been doing their best, and we hope that there's going to be an improvement so that we can continue to discharge our mandate.
Talking about some of these environmental safety guidelines and safety issues, bulk of what comes up lately is what some foreign nationals like the Chinese are doing within most of our communities. I don't know if that is within the purview of your office, like some of the illegal mining that pollutes most of our domestic water sources in those locations, and environmental structures at the long and short run affect people living within those locations, especially within the northern part of the country. So what are the critical things that your agency is doing to curtail that?
Actually, the agency is doing a lot in tackling some of these environmental challenges. Most of them that are man-made. For instance, you talked about mining, which is mostly engaged by some of these Chinese nationals. Whenever we receive any complaint, we come across some of these mining sites, we always go there to carry out investigation. In the first place, any legally operating mining company is expected to register and is expected to carry out the environmental audit. First of all, before you embark on this activity, the facility or the outfit must undertake what we call environmental impact assessment, which is within the purview of the Federal Ministry of Environment. So after doing that, they will be issued with what we call environmental statement. So that statement is usually sent to us. So we get it, we go down there to ensure that everything is in order. And every 3 years they carry out what we call environmental audit for very large facilities. For smaller ones, they do what we call environmental management plant. So all these are put in place to ensure that the activity does not impact on the environment. But as you have mentioned, we do come across some companies that will come and start operating without undergoing all these laid down processes. So when we receive any complaint, we go there to investigate and ensure that they have all the requisite permits before engaging in this, some of these activities. If they don't, we ask them to comply. And if they don't, we sanction the attendance, we take them to a court. So whenever we get any report, we always go there to investigate. Luckily for us, the act establishing the agency was amended last 2 years and signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, empowering the agency to do what is required of them. For instance, if any facility is of imminent danger to the environment, that if it is polluted, we have the power to just go ahead and seal the facility before going to any court. But before, we don't have that power.
Is there anything in that regulatory framework that sets up the agency that empowers the agency to do more of preventive? Because bulk of what you say now is when you get information, and before the information gets to you, bulk of the damage would have been done. So is there anything that empowers you, or any structure you have on ground that monitors within the area that can easily be exposed to some of this kind of pollution, so that they don't go doing the wrong thing before you get to stop them?
The agency is empowered from the Establishment Act. We have the mandate to ensure sustainable use of natural resources. We are also mandated to look at the development and protection of the environment. That is clearly stated in the Establishment Act. We have the mandate also to sensitize the public. So all these are measures that are put in place to ensure that in the first place
It doesn't take place.
it doesn't take place.
So how has that worked? Where have you activated such practical?
So we have the 33 regulations I have mentioned.
Okay.
So what you find in the regulations are measures that are required in the various sectors. For instance, we have what we call the brown and the green environment. So when you talk about the brown environment, that's where you have most of these industries that do a lot of production processes, chemical industries, even some food industries, which some of them use a lot of chemicals, and at the same time they use some fossil fuel. So what is spelled out in the regulation in the first place are procedures that are required of these facilities to comply with, so that they don't pollute the environment. So we know that at the end of the day, they must release some pollutants. So if they do, it should be within a specified limit. So all those ones are specified in the regulations. So we go there to ensure that they comply. So we do that by asking those facilities to carry out what we call the environmental audit facility, ensure that they are working correctly in the first place. If they are not, then they will be required always to fix some of these problems. So likewise, the other sector that I said is the green environment, that is the natural environment, the air, water, soil. So like the mining process, you said, we also have regulations to do with that. We are going to carry out any mining process. You must go through them what is spelled out to ensure that you comply. First, you must do what we call the environmental impact assessment to ensure that this process in the first place is not going to impact so much on the environment. And if it does, how do you take care of it? So all these are measures that are put in place. So if that does not happen, if somebody went ahead to pollute, the penalties are also spelled out there. So when somebody is taken before a court of law, can easily be sanctioned. Some of the penalties include fines, some of them even include jail time.
Have the agency ever jailed anybody?
Yes,
over
there were some
violations?
There were some convictions, a lot, not only to do with these facilities, and there were a lot, but most of the time, most of them they were opt for the payment of the fines. But I believe it's good to make some of these penalties more stringent.
Yeah, so that they don't just get polluting. Okay, let's look at plastic pollution, for instance, because most of the flooding issues we've been having lately is because the plastics in the environment has clogged the drainages. Is there anything your agency is doing practically towards that, especially when we know the producers of most of these waste plastics in the environment? Is there anything your agency is doing, especially when we get to like Jai community? These are even within the urban, but more of the suburb to be that bad there. So what are the practical steps or programs or projects your agency is having to curtail this plastic pollution and to get the guys that have these waste products from plastic to be part of cleaning up the environment? Plastic
pollution is a global problem. All over the world we have this issue, especially the single-use plastic that is used and disposed of. It clogs waterways and is one of the major causes of water flooding, especially now. Because everywhere especially in Nigeria, we use sachet water. So it's a serious problem. So in addressing this issue, we have a program that we call Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR. So this EPR is a component of some of these regulations I have mentioned for the brown environment. So some of these protection sectors, they are required to key into the EPR. So in the process of doing that, those working in the food and beverages sector, they have already come together and they have appointed what we call the Producer Responsibility Organization, which we call Food and Beverages Responsibility Alliance, FIBRA. So the PRO is expected to manage the collectors, where they will go and collect all these waste, all the plastics, and they will take it to the recyclers. The recyclers are expected to collect the plastics, recycle them into another form of raw material, which other industries can use to produce other plastic products. That's for multiple use plastics. And one of the things we intended doing is to get single-use plastic ban. So at the Council of Environment meeting that was held in Kaduna, there was a move to ban the use of these plastics. It was agreed that moratorium should be given so that an alternative will be provided. You can't just go ahead and say, don't use this, you have to provide an alternative means.
My name is Dr. Muhammad Abubakar.
Ibrahim Musa Goni is my name.
My name is Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako,
Honorable Minister of Environment.
Conservation National Park Service of Nigeria.
Minister of State for Environment, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I would like to invite you Nigerians and everybody worldwide to
Keep
watching and
listening
to the
Living Earth.
Living Earth.
living art.
Thank you.
Ministry of Environment as the umpire ministry that makes sure that we have a livable and sustainable environment to live in. They've taken strong steps, especially to look at the issues that have to do with the single-use plastic. So we have the Honorable Minister here to talk to us about that. As a ministry, we've taken the bold step through regulations and all that to propose the ban of single-use plastic, especially within the government establishment. How are we going on that? And then at the long run, how sustainable?
What we first did is that we test-run the banning of single-use plastic within the Federal Ministries of Environment, our departments, our agencies, our projects, and our programs, including our public functions. When we test-run that for about 6 months, we were able to learn some lessons. We saw the way it ran, and we now decided to scale up to involve all ministry departments and agencies of the federal government. We presented a memo at the Federal Executive Council and it was so approved. Implementation of that should start very soon. The process of implementation takes some time, trying to prepare the ministries and trying to get the alternative that they use to drink water and all that. It's ongoing. So we hope that very soon we're going to start that implementation. The whole essence of that is first to show leadership. If government employees who belongs to the elite group in the society have adopted these measures, who believe strongly that they can also influence a lot of people to follow suit. If you add the population of public civil servants in the federal sector together, it cannot be less than 15,000. We hope that eventually we can also scale up to involve civil servants at the state and local government level. So you will now have created a nucleus of ambassadors who are going to be out there propagating sustainable and responsible use of plastics. So that is the whole essence of that. So that process is going on, and we believe that learning from our experience, what we have achieved at the Federal Ministry of Environment, we strongly believe there is something that we can also do at the statewide level, federal government and state and local government as well. So we were very, very, very convinced that it will add some values to the way we manage plastic.
Some persons listening will now want to know, during the period that little test run was done, and I'm sure an alternative was provided within that little, what was it and how effective was that? Looking at when it will be like replicated on a wider scale.
If you look around within the Ministry of Environment now, you see that in most offices they now have water dispensers, and you also see that most staff also have their water bottles so that they can fetch water from the water dispensers to drink. That eliminates the use of water bottles and what you commonly call pure water, sachet water. Of course, we also look at the areas of shopping bags. They are reusable shopping bags that you can use on and on and on. Some of them made from clothes, some though made from plastic, but they are made in such a way that you can use them many times. So for shopping bags, that is also something that we are proposing. Of course, plastic spoons, plastic plates, styrofoam, you see that even when you come to our events outside the ministry, what we do is that to procure mug, as apart from putting water dispensers there, we also have mugs that we put on tables with glass cups so that people can drink from those mugs and the glass cup. So these are measures that we have taken within the Ministry of Environment to ensure that we are able to implement this. And these are the best practices that we're going to be selling to other sister ministries and agencies of government.
So likewise, some of these regulations, like the ones I mentioned, the one on sanitation and waste control, prohibits the littering of environment. So we are all responsible for most of these problems. If you use plastic, you are not supposed to just throw it away. There's a refuse collection, you collect it and you take it to the right place. In some places they have collectors that will come and collect the whole waste and it will be sorted. A lot of pollutions will come out of most of this waste, even though nowadays there are informal collectors, these scavengers. As early as 5 o'clock in the morning, you see them rushing to the garbage to pick some of these plastics. They take them to where they will sell them and get some money. So we as individuals, we need to change our attitudes. Let's better start doing the right thing so that we can salvage the situation.
Prof, when the plastic gets to the landfill, it still poses huge problem even there. And then at that point, individuals may not be able to do much. As a regulating body in this aspect, is there anything that can be done or that the public can expect from your agency to take care of?
I thought we have even the landfills we will talk about. People are just in the habit of dumping. What we have is the dump site. So actually it's a serious problem. When you dump some of these plastics, some of them they take 1,000 years to get degraded. And when it rains, water most of the times washes these plastics down to the rivers. From the rivers, some of them will get into the ocean. When it gets into the ocean, the fishes that live there and other marine lives, they may end up consuming some of these plastics. They call them microplastics. So at the end of the day, it comes back to us. We take it as food because we consume a lot of these fishes that come from rivers and oceans. So we get these microplastics into ourselves by consuming these fishes, and it's one of the causes of some of these diseases we are seeing, cancers and other life-threatening diseases are caused by some of these microplastics. So if you look at the rate at which we are getting some of these infections now, is completely different from some years back. So most of them are as a result of these activities. So actually we have to find a solution. First, the single-use plastic needs to be banned. Secondly, the multiple-use plastics should always be collected and recycled. When you recycle, you are trying to do a form of circular economy. Because if you continue to get rid of these plastics as waste, most of the plastics are petroleum-based. The raw material is the crude oil, where we get the petrochemical which is used in the synthesis. So one day, this crude oil is going to finish because it's a non-renewable source. So based on that, there is need for us to always collect them and recycle so that our children that may come some years to come, they may meet some of these raw materials.
If you're just tuning in, the program is The Living Earth, where we look at our environment and sustainable livelihood issues. And in today's edition, I have Professor Aliyu Jauro. He is the DG of NESREA. NESREA is one of the agencies that regulates issues that surrounds environmental interactions on a daily basis. And he's putting us through the key functions they have to play, the rules they have to play, and your own part of it because you're a stakeholder as well in the environment. Prof, thank you so much for giving us your time. So there's a whole lot to talk about in this series of discussions. So we'll be taking it bit by bit and we'll be getting deeper on it and in subsequent editions. So we'll have Prof to unveil more to us. Thank you so much, Prof.
You're welcome.